G'day, welcome to another episode of Country Life on the Coast. My name is Sean, and on today's episode we're going to clean up the shed using some simple storage ideas. So this is my shed. Obviously a bit of a workbench just here. Stuff everywhere. It's been accumulating for a while now. Bits and pieces left over from other projects that we just need to clean up. Have an engine crane, the original engine out of my Falcon. Have some storage up here, but can't really access it. And then over here we have all this shelving. It's making reasonable use, but we can improve it a lot. And what I want to do is get basically as much as I can off the ground and up onto shelves, that sort of thing. So my first thing I'm going to do is we have all of these tins of degreaser, there's some paints, all sorts of bits and pieces here, and it's taken up valuable shelf space. So what I can do is actually move all them over, and I'll show you a clever storage idea that you might be able to use in your own shed. So I have this steel shed that has all this framing, and it basically already has a shelf on it. So what I can do is I bought this piece of timber, so I can screw this onto the frame, and then I can put all of my cans all the way along here that will be supported by it, and yeah, a very simple storage that will then remove all of my cans from my shelf over there. So there we go, one little piece of timber, but it will support it, it'll stop anything falling off there, and it works really well. So now I can tell where degreasers and paints and greases and everything I've got up here, I can see what I've got, and it's very easy to access. So the next thing I'm going to do is put a shelf up above. That way I can put some of my smaller hand tools up there, and just other storage as well. And you can go out and buy brackets. So I actually got given 3 of these brackets and this big piece of timber that I'm going to use for the shelf. So this is about 2.3 meters long, I think, and about 500 wide, or what will be 500 deep. So I'm just going to attach it to, again, each one of these metal studs. Just put a screw in straight through here into the stud, and I'll just see what the screws I've got, if they seem strong enough. I think it should be fine. Otherwise we'll look at another option, but we'll get this leveled up and install the shelf. So there we go, we've got this shelf on. As you saw, I've actually screwed through into it as well. That way the shelf itself can't slide off or anything bad like that. So now we'll put some power tools up on here. So here we are. Well, we've got more space on that shelf than I thought, but what we've got is I've got my rotary hammer drill and a jigsaw, got a grinder, my circular saw, battery charger. Had more space, so this is my little packet of all split pins. Don't use it very often at all, but it's a nice spot, easy to access. And then I've got a couple of sanders on the end. So I've still got some more space there. I'm going to see how it goes in case the timber sags a little bit over time. I've put, as you can probably see, all the heavier things right over where the brackets are. So yeah, we will just see. If I need to put a piece of timber under it for support, well, we will do that as well. But what that has done, all that came from some of these storage spots over here. So I'm going to organise this a bit better and get my drop saws and sit them up on some shelving. So we'll just rearrange some stuff here now that we've made a bit of space and get a little bit more organised. Throw out a couple of boxes that I don't need anymore as well, and make it so I've got a clear pathway across here. Well, we're making headway. So we've cleaned up a lot of this. I've now got space for my drop saws. I've actually got space to walk in and get to this shelving as opposed to having to climb over everything. So a lot of stuff now is up off the ground, which is the whole aim of all of this. The next thing we need to tackle is all of this. So there's a mix of bits and pieces in here. The biggest thing that I need to come up with a solution for is this box here. It's full of all different sorts of screws. Because I'm always doing projects, there's always different screws, and at the moment they basically have been staying in their packets and putting them back in this box. But we need to improve that system and also then be able to access some of these benches that are here as well. So that's part of the plan. So what I'll do first is sort of pull all this stuff out, and then I'm going to make use of the wall space here as well. We'll look at hanging up some things. Yeah, just make more space, more access. Alright, so we've cleaned up this area a bit more now too. So we can walk in here. Got my Ryobi planting and digging tool here hanging up. The pruner and its handle is hanging here as well, all up off the ground. Now you can go and buy brackets and sort of things, but all I did, push this back, so metal screws into the edge, and then some wire that I've used, well, we'd used before for fencing actually, that I had left over. Just pull that out. So just bent it around, bend it into shape, and so now I can just hang these here like that. Same principle with this one. Got a piece of wire at the top, loop down, there's a little hook under it that it sort of sits on, and then the same thing here, I've just got a piece of wire hanging up that it'll sit in. And this sort of needs to sit up this way because it's got oil in it as well, so I didn't want it hanging or anything like that. I wasn't sure if oil would then drip out of it. So yeah, simple but effective, and again, always just using what I've got around rather than go out and buy things if you don't need to. Well, yeah. So still got a little bit more cleaning up to do on the desk, but we'll do that shortly. So here we are with it cleaned up. Yeah, the best thing to do after a couple of hours, it's all sort of organised the way I want it to be. A lot of it was actually just throwing out stuff that I hadn't thrown out before. So amazing what happens after a while, but anyway. So we've got all our degreasers and lubricants and paints up there, showed earlier. We've cleaned off most of this desk, so I now have my workbench again. Organised so much of this. So this little tray up here, I'm still deciding what I'm going to do with all my screws, whether I put some boxes in here because I can buy some tubs to sit in them and have them in there, or a different organiser. I'll look around and see what I can do. And then I've cleaned up all the shelving as well, so now I've got access to all of that. Anything I've got left sitting on the ground really is my generator. I'm going to use that every now and again, but we'll hang on to that for the time being. Well, the last thing I want to do with organising this shed is do something with this box that is packed full of all different size screws, bolts, that sort of thing. So what I've done is I've gone out and bought the organiser from Trade Tools. It's about $25, has 12 compartments in it. Obviously see-through, so you can see what's in there. It seems very well constructed, and for the price and the size that it was, it beat everything else I could find. So I had a look online. We have a trade tools close to us, so I was able to just go into the shop and buy it. But yeah, I had a look everywhere else, and to me these seem to be the best deal around. So we'll put as many screws as I can in my 12 tubs that I've got in here, and see if I'm pretty certain I'm going to probably have to buy another one of these, but I thought we'll try it out first. There is also a deeper size one you can get as well, so I thought we'll start with the smallest one, see how it goes, and decide what I need to go from there. So there we go. This organizer is now full. I'm going to have to get another one. But what I found is that if you've got packets of screws sort of this size, they'll easily fit into these little tubs. Not sure if I showed you before, but they're actually removable as well, so that's cool. If you've got packets slightly bigger than this, so I have a pack of 25 mil, there was 500 screws in here, so this didn't quite fit, sort of overfilled the tub, so I'll have to keep this aside, and as I use them out of here I'll then be able to fill it back up and then get rid of that one. But yeah, if you're buying packets of screws that size, they'll fit. I've still got some other screws and things that I'm going to need to put in another one, so I will go and buy a second one. The other thing I did is, as I was unloading screws, and you probably saw it, but I was keeping this in the bottom so that I can look and I know straight away what sort of screws they are and what size. It's just a handy way of doing it rather than having to try and either guess or grab a tape measure and measure the length and the size. So yeah, just a little tip, but makes it a lot easier. This organizer though, I really like it. So when you do it up, so it has these metal clamps at the front, and I did a bit of a test. Tip them all over. And the good thing is that none of the screws are coming out of their tubs into other areas. So the way it's manufactured is the lid sort of clamps down on that, which was one of my sort of concerns, whether that might be a problem. But yeah, didn't. Fantastic. For about $25, yeah, like I said earlier, hard to beat. But that's all we have in this shed organising episode. I hope some of those tips might have helped you out. So thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe button. That would be fantastic. And we'll catch you next time. God bless.